Today, or maybe even yesterday depending on when you specifically see this video, Jake Paul is scheduled to have fight Mike Tyson. And probably, this is the only time in history, to me at least, where Mike Tyson is sort of looking like the underdog. Yeah, I know, it's Mr. Disney Channel himself, Jake Paul, it's everyday bro, memes aside. But he, in all seriousness, is still a man in his prime who has proven that he has the ability to knock out fighters. Granted, older fighters, but it's not like Mike Tyson doesn't fall into that category. Saying that out loud now, it kind of reminds me to the plot of Rocky Balboa, specifically the sixth one. A former world champion, probably a decade and a half out of his prime or element, gearing up to fight a new hothead who was eager to prove himself. So with all that Rocky and Mike Tyson stuff, I decided to take it back to the channel, as we will take the two older underdogs and put them back into their prime, just to see who would win in a hypothetical boxing matchup scenario. As today, we will dissect the fighting prowess of Rocky Balboa, specifically during the time period of his fight against Ivan Drago, as that generally is considered to be prime Rocky, and the one and only Iron Mike Tyson during his iconic prime that lasted during the late 80s to early to mid 90s. So if that sounds interesting to you guys, then hey, stick around. And if you like what you see, be sure to bless your boy with a subscription, as we cover a variety of versus topics on a weekly basis, and I truly do mean variety. Sometimes you'll see Godzilla, last week I talked about the Q from All Tomorrows, and I even scaled every single Smash character just to see which could be Goku and which couldn't. So we truly have a little bit of everything for everyone here. We're currently on the road to 50k by the end of the year, and did I mention that I post 3 to 4 shorts a week? So you're getting a lot from me. Your boy is on that grind. But with that e-begging out the way, seriously though, sub, please, let's get into the topic that you all clicked the video for. Mike Tyson is one of those guys you think about when you hear the two words peak human, and it's certainly easy to see why, as throughout his career he fought a total of 58 times and ended his illustrious career with a very impressive record of 50 wins to 6 losses, with a record of 44 of his 50 wins being by knockout, meaning in all the fights that he participated in, he would win by knockout 75% of the time, with most of his matchups being over in less than 5 rounds, with only a handful of fighters ever being able to go the distance with him to begin with. This insane performance starts to make sense once you consider the power of his punch was roughly equivalent to 1600 joules. For comparison's sake, another legend, Rocky Marciano, had a punching power only equivalent to 1200 joules. And according to one study, Mike's punching power would be equivalent to the following sensations: getting hit with a 221-pound anvil dropped from 5 feet on top of you, 13 men shooting you with 22s while wearing a bulletproof vest, and having a grown man crash into you while driving a Vespa motorbike at a pace of 9 miles per hour. Mike Tyson was able to generate this insane amount of power due to his speed and size, as due to his relatively small stature compared to most heavyweights, he eventually learned how to use that to his advantage, as he could just bait his taller opponents into throwing punches, and due to generally knowing where they were going to land, and from there he could generally use his powerful leg muscles and leverage to throw some truly powerful haymakers, hence the 44 knockouts. In terms of general power scaling attack potency now, this would easily grant him some street level AP, though I feel like I should mention I found a thread that somehow asserted that his punching power would actually be in the street plus, just to like low wall level ranges. For the average people now who are watching this video and don't know what the tiering system really entails, street level as defined by the Versus Wiki is, quote, characters or objects that stand at the threshold of human strength and capacity, typically being represented by Olympic athletes and rigorously trained martial artists, as well as just large animals. And wall level being defined as characters or objects that can significantly damage extremely resilient materials, such as stone, metal, or steel, as well as similarly resilient parts of construction such as structural borders and walls. Obviously, the higher end calcs get Mike Tyson into the lower wall level ends of AP, but seeing as how street level is generally described to be peak human, and Mike could potentially be just a tier ahead of that, it kind of just speaks for itself. Now that we've gone over Mike's power, it's only fair that we talk about his speed, as it was an essential part of his craft. Mike Tyson, due to his status alone, would find himself in the peak human to superhuman echelons of combat speed and reaction time, as the average boxer alone is capable of throwing a punch at 25 miles an hour. Now obviously Mike at worst isn't the average boxer, and seeing as how Mike easily overwhelmed his combatants with a combination of his fast movements and flurry of blows, I think the superhuman tier is pretty fair enough to kind of just place him into, as the superhuman tier is only 12.5% faster than like peak humans. So if anyone on earth could meet those requirements, it would definitely be Iron Mike Tyson. So in conclusion, Mike Tyson would bring street to wall levels of knockout punching power and speed rivaling like some animals, and with his stats all laid out like this, it's easy to see why he's garnered the reputation that he has, as he's just certainly earned it. And hey, if Mike Tyson can bring out even a little bit of that old guy back today, then Jake Paul is in for the fight of his life. Rocky Balboa, the Italian stallion himself. As for some statistics now, according to Rocky 6, Rocky has a combined record of 57 wins and 23 losses, with the losses presumably being before the events of the first movie, because obviously we know that he lost to Apollo, but after that he became champion 2 times, and he only lost it to Clubber Lang and he earned it back. And then he would subsequently have to relinquish the title due to his health after the battle with Drago. But anyways, of his 57 wins, he had 54 knockouts, meaning every time he fought, he had a knockout percentage equivalent to around 67%. Keep in mind, this is likely a very gross lowball to his current base, as a majority of his losses happened before even the first film, where he was much less skilled and much weaker than he was during, Rocky 4. As for Rocky's skill now, by the dawn of the 21st century, particularly in the last couple of films set in the franchise, Rocky is pretty consistently considered to be a contender for the greatest of all time. This is stated multiple times throughout the saga. He's always in a top 2 conversation, and it's pretty consistent, whether it be in comparison to Apollo Creed or even Mason Dixon. It seems his rank is always kind of locked, kind of like a Michael Jordan's always going to be in that conversation no matter what. His fights and bouts are stated to be the greatest in the history of the sport. He's confirmed to have fought the biggest and best boxers of all time, and as for those of you guys who are curious as to how he scales to the new guys set in the Creed series, the director of the second film states that a prime Creed could beat the Italian stallion from the third Rocky film by split decision as well, and he also made it pretty apparent that Rocky wouldn't go down.
Is Rocky 3? I'll have to go Mike. I have to go down the street.
How many rounds are
Rocky will not give up, man. Rocky will keep coming
basically.
at him. Yeah.
Keep in mind how Rocky in the next film likely is far stronger than he was during this film, as he went the distance with Ivan Drago, who previously defeated and killed Apollo Creed, who was confirmed to be in his physical prime during the events of this film, meaning that this Apollo would be stronger than the Apollo who sparred Rocky in the third film. So yeah, a prime Rocky 4, Rocky is definitely beating all of the Creed guys, meaning that Rocky scales to feats such as Adonis apparently having some form of ultra instinct here, and as well as his plane pulling stuff. And hey, I guess this is as good a time as any to dive into Rocky's attack potency. Rocky's scaling pretty much all comes from Drago, as during the Russian steroid pump training montage, we see that his punch caps at 2150 psi, which would actually grant him some casual wall level scaling, and that's assuming that he didn't get any stronger throughout the training montage, as the punching demonstration isn't even at the end of it or anything like that. So this metric is more accurately used as a baseline rather than his cap. This is important as Rocky would go on to fight a much stronger Drago due to the training, and Drago stated that it hurt him to just hit Rocky, had Drago tweaking talking about Rocky's not human, and he even said that punching him was like punching steel, which is an incredible feat for the Italian stallion. Rocky then would go on to take 12 whole rounds of these wall level blows all throughout his entire body, and he would walk away from the bout with a mere concussion. Ivan's punches are capable of casually crushing bones, and for a comparison inverse now, the same Drago before the intense training montage nearly decapitated Apollo Creed with these said blows, and Rocky took stronger punches for a much longer period of time and walked away with a mere concussion, granting super duper casual wall level scaling for Rocky Balboa. In terms of speed, Rocky Balboa, like Mike Tyson, would easily fall into the peak human to superhuman speed ranges, as he isn't only considered a good boxer, he's considered one of the best of all time. He's stated multiple times to be a master fighter. His entire character is embodied by the actual ira of Rocky Marciano, and from actual inverse now, Mickey describes some of the move in the same type of way. Mickey also knew the guy personally, as alluded to during Rocky 5.
Now, wait a minute. Look at that. See that? This is the favorite thing that I have on this earth. And Rocky Marciano, give me that.
As we've talked about, he should be far superior than Adonis Creed, who verbatim throws a punch at 25 miles per hour. But you can actually use his UI as seen from Creed 3 to argue he's much faster, as Adonis is able to perceive Ricky Cullen's movements as somewhat moving in slow motion. The scene is kind of hard to interpret, but seeing as how the whole sequence starts with Adonis locking in with his eyes, it's somewhat fair to say that this is a representation of his combat speed and reaction times. Whether or not you actually think he saw him in slow motion, I think at worst, this should be an instance of him just blitzing him. It's not like a perception blitz or anything too crazy like that, but I think it's clear to say that Adonis was just much faster than this pro boxer, granting him and Rocky by extension more than likely superhuman to even low subsonic speed. This higher end of speed might seem crazy, but it can get even better, as the writer of all the major Rocky and Rambo films, Sylvester Stallone himself, has stated that Rocky and Rambo are relative, and a fight between them would ultimately just come down to circumstance. Keep in mind, Rambo is so fast that he blatantly dodges bullets and can outpace rifles with his travel speed, so you can get pretty nutty when it comes to Rocky's potential speed scaling, if you think I'm bugging with the previous subsonic end. So in conclusion, Rocky would bring wall level attack potency and anywhere from superhuman to supersonic combat speed to the table. He's a master boxer and just general fighter, and he's considered to be one of, if not the greatest boxer who ever lived. So between Iron Mike Tyson and the Italian Stallion, who will win a fight? Well, I think it's pretty clear that Rocky is more consistently in the wall level ranges, and granted, Mike Tyson's one wall level count does get him higher than Ivan Drago. I would like to really push in the fact that I don't even know how he got him this high. Human beings cannot punch this hard. It's just scientifically impossible. But if you really want to use that count for some strange reason instead of the more consistent street level stuff that's verified, then Mike Tyson's max, punch would be 30% stronger than during training Drago, not even post training. So if you don't think that Drago got 30% stronger, then I mean, yeah, Mike Tyson would be stronger than Drago, I guess, in that case. But even then, Rocky was kind of shrugging off Drago's punches by the end of that fight. So Rocky's literally getting hit and coming back and begging for more. So do you think that if Drago's punch was 30% stronger here, it would have floored Rocky? I don't think so. And once again, that's a super duper high end for Mike Tyson, whereas this is a casual end for Rocky. And if you really want to be fair, if you want to grant high ends for Mike, then it's only fair we grant high ends for Rocky. Going back to that Rambo scaling now, Rocky would scale to some of Rambo's durability feats, which get into the small building ranges. So high end to high end, Rocky would one shot, and base stats versus base consistent stats, Rocky would one shot. There's also the fact that Rocky is just far faster than Mike Tyson, with him actually being possibly even a bullet timer according to Sylvester Stallone, the writer and creator of the character himself. And Rocky was durable enough to survive hundreds of punches, literally counted hundreds of punches to the head and body by Ivan Drago, the same Drago whose punches crush bone and are capable of decapitating human beings. Rocky ate hundreds of those and walked away with a mere concussion. And that's really what it comes down to. Rocky is a fictional character from a fictional boxing series versus Mike Tyson, who has to work in the pretense of being a real person. Fiction is typically stronger than reality, and this is a perfect example of it. Rocky has achieved feats that would be impossible for any man who ever lived, pretty much. And the series itself seems to be pretty aware of it, as multiple times his strength is called supernatural, his durability is called the same thing. Rocky, even before Rocky 4, was able to break Apollo Creed's bones with his punches, and on top of that, he's simply just far faster than Mike Tyson. So Mike Tyson will be fighting a character who punches at superhuman levels of strength, at superhuman levels of speed. So it would only go about as well as you think it would. And if you're not a fan of the pure stats gap, there's also another way to get Rocky above Mike Tyson from an inverse point of view. As previously discussed, Rocky is considered to be one of, if not the greatest boxer of all time, and Mike Tyson canonically existed in the Rocky universe. He's right there in Rocky 6, and if you think this is a cameo or Easter egg, nope, an action figure came out that revealed that, yeah, that was actually Mike Tyson. Meaning in a universe where Mike Tyson had his illustrious run, Rocky's had bigger and better fights, and he's considered greater. And here's another way to get Mike Tyson below Rocky, using Mike Tyson's own word himself. Mike Tyson has stated that Muhammad Ali would beat him in his prime. Muhammad Ali, like Mike Tyson, is a canonical character who existed in the Rocky timeline. All of those great bouts, they happened, and Rocky's just considered better. And we can even use Muhammad Ali's own words, because Muhammad Ali stated that Rocky Marciano could beat him, and as we know, Mickey states that Rocky is like Rocky Marciano, and the character was embodied by him. So no matter what way you look at it, whether you're using pure stats, skill, or just, quotes of experts, Rocky Balboa would beat Mike Tyson 10 times out of 10. With the only possible way of you getting Mike Tyson above Rocky is by downplaying Rocky and wanking Mike Tyson. Or you could just strip use fictional Mike Tyson, like the one from Punch-Out or something. But that wasn't the discussion for today's video, so yeah, that's not really relevant. I don't think anyone's saying that Mike Tyson would beat Rocky because Mike Tyson's skills a Little Mac who can fight Donkey Kong. No one's saying that. When they think of Rocky versus Mike Tyson, they think of the versions that people know. And the contest between the two of these individuals, the Italian Stallion would come out on top by knockout as well. And yeah, that's my take on this matchup. Was it about what you expected, or did I just... Whatever you think, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, be sure to tell me if you liked the video, because hey, if you want to see more boxing content, even if it's IRL or fictional, if you guys have most in the comments, that tells me, yeah, I gotta get back on that. I'd like to thank the Chad Champ, as he helped me with some of Mike Tyson's stuff, and he alerted me to some of the Rocky inverse. Like myself, he's a power skilling channel who prides himself on the variety of stuff that he covers, and just this week he put a Predator up against Master Chief. So if you want to see more power scaling variety, be sure to check his stuff out. And hey, if you wanted Mike Tyson to really beat Rocky, at least he's probably got an easier fight tonight, and you can watch it on Netflix for free. I think he should be able to win that, but hey, even if he does it, it wouldn't be the craziest thing that happened this year. Let's talk about that election for a second. I don't want to get political with you guys, but really? Of other guys to vote for him?
Greetings, my loyal subjects. Thank you for voting me back into office. I see that you are all higher level thinkers, and now this world will become my legion.